Okay, let's start with a question. What if your most frustrating disagreements, your toughest negotiations, maybe even just those tricky conversations with family, what if they weren't about winning or even finding some middle ground?
What if it's about something deeper?
Exactly. Something that taps right into the core of human understanding. Today, we're diving deep into Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's a book that honestly completely reshapes how you think about influence and communication.
It's a really compelling idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Voss kind of throws out those old beliefs that negotiation is just about compromise or, a zero-sum game.
Right.
He doesn't just redefine it as like a business thing. He really elevates it to an indispensable life skill.
Yeah.
And you think about today how interconnected we all are.
Mm.
Effective communication, influence, it's critical
That's
everywhere.
right.
Business deals, family stuff.
Everywhere. And the context here is what gives this book so much weight, I think. Chris Voss isn't just some academic theorist.
No, far from it.
He's a former FBI hostage negotiator. Just think about that for a second. High stakes doesn't even begin to cover it. Lives on the line.
Yeah, that background brings this unique authority, doesn't it? These are practical, deeply tested lessons. It really sets it apart from traditional negotiation books that can feel a bit,
A bit theoretical.
exactly, too academic for the real messy world.
So our mission in this deep dive is pretty straightforward. Give you a shortcut to being well-informed on Voss's, well, transformative strategies. We want you to walk away with actionable tools, maybe a fresh mindset.
Yeah, so you can approach basically any interaction with more confidence, more competence. Think of it like getting the key insights you'd find on, say, Better Every Page on YouTube, but in our conversational style.
Perfect. So where does Voss start? What's the core argument?
Okay, so his central argument is kind of revolutionary. Negotiation isn't about compromise. Not really. It's about understanding and subtly influencing the other party's emotions. He uses terms like tactical empathy and really leans into emotional intelligence. It's a big shift, a real philosophical shift away from that old school bargaining table idea where you just meet in the middle.
Okay, let's unpack that because this is where it gets really fascinating. Voss essentially throws out the old playbook, right?
hmm
And rebuilds how we should interact. So how does he start building this new foundation?
Well, it all begins with really diving deep into the other person's emotional world, not just their logical argument.
Right. And the cornerstone, the absolute foundation, is tactical empathy. He gets into this in chapter 1, The New Rules. And it's not just like feeling sorry for someone or agreeing with them.
No, it's more active than that.
Yeah, it's an active effort to understand their perspective, their motivations, and crucially, to actually influence their emotions positively.
He uses these incredible stories from his FBI days, right?
Absolutely. Like there's one about a hostage situation.
Yeah.
Super tense. He didn't just focus on the kidnapper's demands. Instead, he actively listened and then verbally acknowledged the kidnapper's feelings.
Feelings of desperation, being cornered, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And by doing that, he de-escalated the whole thing, found a peaceful way out. It's really about getting inside their head, not just stepping into their shoes.
Okay, so building on that idea of empathy, he introduces mirroring. That's chapter 2. Be a mirror.
Ah, mirroring. It sounds simple, but it's powerful.
Deceptively simple, yeah. It's basically just subtly repeating the last 1 to 3 words the other person says.
Just the last few words.
Yeah. And what's amazing is how it builds rapport almost unconsciously. It taps into this really basic human need to feel understood. When someone hears their own words reflected back, they feel genuinely heard. And the key thing is it encourages them to elaborate, to keep talking.
And that gives you more information.
Exactly. Information you might never have gotten otherwise just because they feel safe enough to keep sharing.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's labeling from chapter 3. Don't feel their pain, label it. How's that different?
So labeling takes empathy a step further. You identify and then acknowledge the other person's emotions out loud.
Like saying,
Using phrases like, it seems like you're frustrated about this, or it sounds like you're worried about the timeline.
okay, so you're not agreeing with the feeling, just noticing it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're showing you've heard and understood their emotional state. And Voss explains the psychology. It kind of bypasses the emotional fight or flight part of the brain.
The limbic system.
Yeah, that. And it lets the rational brain re-engage. It diffuses tension, builds trust, and often leads to these real breakthroughs in a conversation.
Wow. Okay, so empathy, mirroring, labeling. that builds understanding, but then he flips something on its head, right? The whole idea of getting to yes.
Oh, completely. This is one of those counterintuitive parts, the power of no. That's chapter 4. Beware, yes, master, no.
We're all trained to chase the yes, aren't we?
Always. But Voss says no isn't a rejection. It's actually a pivotal moment. He even advocates framing questions sometimes to get a no,
Get a no. Why?
because it makes the other party feel in control. When someone says no, they feel safe. They feel autonomous. And paradoxically, that makes them more open to real discussion.
Huh. They don't feel pressured.
Exactly. It fosters collaboration because they feel like they have agency, like they aren't being cornered into a yes.
Okay, so you get the no. You navigate through it using empathy and labeling. What are you aiming for, though?
You're aiming for what he calls, that's right. Chapter 5 is all about this. It's that critical moment when the other person feels completely, utterly understood.
Not just you're right, which can sometimes feel a bit dismissive.
Right. Not, you're right. That's right. It signals true comprehension. It's like the light bulb goes on for them and they know you get it. That's often where the real breakthroughs happen.
Okay, so we've covered understanding emotions, but Voss also talks about guiding the conversation, right? Managing perception.
Yeah, absolutely. Beyond just understanding, it's about guiding. This is where concepts like calibrated questions come in. That's chapter 7. Create the illusion of control.
Calibrated questions. What are those exactly?
They're basically open-ended questions, usually starting with how or what. They're designed to guide the conversation without making you seem controlling.
So instead of telling them what to do,
You prompt them to think and provide solutions. It gathers critical information while making them feel like they're in charge of finding the answer. Voss tells that story about the bank robber demanding a specific getaway car.
oh yeah, I remember that one.
Instead of arguing or saying no, Voss asks, how am I supposed to do that?
Ah, shifting the focus.
Exactly. It shifted the robber from demanding to problem solving. It created a path forward without just giving in.
That's brilliant. Okay, and what about bending reality? That sounds a bit manipulative. It's chapter 6.
Yeah, the name sounds tricky, but it's not really about deception. It's more about understanding how perceptions of fairness and value can be influenced. Voss talks about using psychological principles like anchoring and framing to help shape the other person's understanding of what's fair or possible. It challenges that automatic urge we have to just split everything down the middle.
So it's about shaping their view of the possibilities.
Right. Helping them see a different, maybe more favorable, fair outcome. And then there's a really key concept, especially for trickier negotiations. Black swans.
Black swans, like unexpected things from chapter 10, Find the Black Swan.
Exactly. Those hidden pieces of information, unexpected events, things you just didn't know.
Hmm.
That, once you uncover them, can completely change the game.
How do you find them?
By staying incredibly alert, observant, listening intensely, and asking those calibrated questions. Maybe the other side has a hidden deadline you don't know about, or an internal pressure or a personal motivation.
Something underneath the surface.
Yeah. Discovering that black swan can turn a negotiation that seems impossible into something solvable. It underlines how important it is to keep digging, keep listening.
So those are some huge concepts. But he also mentions smaller practical tools, doesn't he? Like the DJ voice.
Oh, yeah, the late night FM DJ voice. That's about using a calm, soothing, downward inflecting tone. It's designed to de-escalate tension,
Yeah.
make people feel safe and reassured.
Very specific. And what about the accusation audit? That one sounds intriguing.
Ah, yes, the accusation audit. It's quite clever. It's about anticipating the negative things the other party might be thinking or feeling about you or your position,
Okay.
and then addressing them proactively, right at the start, before they even say anything.
So you beat them to the punch?
Kind of. You might start by saying, look, you probably think I'm being difficult here, or you might feel like I'm not considering your needs, and I get why you'd feel that way. By stating their potential negatives first, you disarm them. It shows you're aware, you're empathetic to their potential view, and it builds incredible credibility. It just opens up the space for a more honest chat.
That's really smart. Okay, so if we zoom out a bit, connect all these pieces,
Hmm.
what's the big underlying theme here?
I think the core message, the philosophical undercurrent, is that negotiation is fundamentally a psychological game. It's less about the logic, the facts, the power dynamics on the surface.
And more about...
More about really understanding human behavior, emotions, those subtle psychological triggers that actually drive our decisions.
Which brings us back to the power of no, doesn't it? Why is that so central philosophically?
Because it reframes no
Mm.
completely. It's not an endpoint. It's actually an opening. It gives the other person that vital sense of safety and autonomy.
Which ironically makes them more willing to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It lets you explore their deeper needs, their real concerns. It leads to much more meaningful dialogue and, weirdly, a better chance of finding a solution that works.
And tactical empathy isn't just one technique among many then.
No, I'd say it's the cornerstone philosophy of the whole book. Actively understanding and acknowledging someone else's perspective, even if you totally disagree with it, that's the bedrock.
That's how you build rapport, build trust.
Which are the absolute essentials for any kind of successful human interaction, right?
Right.
Whether it's a business deal or talking to your kids.
Absolutely. These ideas feel pretty universal, don't they? Applicable across cultures, different situations.
Definitely. And it's interesting to contrast Voss's approach with, say, more traditional negotiation books like Getting to Yes.
How do they compare?
Well, Getting to Yes is great. Focuses on mutual gains, principled negotiation, finding common ground, which is important. But Voss's method feels much more grounded in the raw psychological and emotional reality of how people actually behave.
Especially under pressure.
Especially under pressure. That hostage negotiation background just gives it this vivid practical edge that feels really connected to the messy reality of human interactions, maybe more than a purely theoretical framework sometimes does.
Okay, so this is all fascinating theory, but how do we actually use this stuff? How do these high-stakes lessons translate to, our everyday lives? Let's talk practical strategies.
Yeah, this is the great part. The beauty of Voss's techniques is how adaptable they are. Take mirroring and labeling. You can start using this today in normal conversations.
How? Give me an example.
Okay, say your spouse mentions they're stressed about a work deadline. Instead of jumping in with advice, just mirror their last few words, like deadline next week. It encourages them to say more, makes them feel heard. Or maybe a coworker seems really frustrated after a meeting. You could label it, hey, it sounds like you felt pretty overlooked in there.
Ah, naming the feeling.
Right. It can instantly de-escalate things, show you understand, and lead to a way better follow-up conversation than if you just ignored it or argued.
That feels like a small shift with potentially big results. What about cultivating tactical empathy day to day?
It's really about making it a habit. Consciously trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes before you react or propose something.
So in a family discussion or before a work meeting,
Yeah, pause and genuinely try to figure out what are their motivations here? What are they afraid of? What are their underlying concerns? It's not guessing. It's an active effort to understand their world.
okay. And those calibrated questions, how would they work in, say, a team meeting?
Oh, they're fantastic for meetings. Instead of making statements that might put people on the defensive, like we need to cut the budget, you ask how or what questions. Like how might we approach this project successfully within the new budget constraints? Or what would need to happen for this proposal to feel fair to everyone involved?
So it guides the conversation without being dictatorial.
Exactly. It gathers information, guides the thinking constructively, and empowers people to be part of the solution, much less confrontational.
Now, Voss also encourages practice, right? Specific exercises for getting better.
He does. And this is where you can really cement the skills. One simple thing is self-reflection. After any significant interaction, a negotiation, a disagreement, even just an important conversation, take a minute.
To do what?
Ask yourself, what worked? What didn't? Why? Could I have used mirroring there? Did I miss a chance to label an emotion? How could I apply a Voss technique better next time? It's about constant refinement.
And for those who want to go deeper.
Role-playing exercises. Seriously, grab a friend, a colleague, a family member, and practice these techniques in a low-stakes setting.
It seems a bit awkward, maybe.
It might feel a bit weird at first, yeah. But practicing mirroring, labeling, using calibrated questions in a safe space builds comfort and confidence. You get to see how effective they are firsthand before you deploy them when it really matters.
Makes sense. And Voss backs this all up with stories, right? Not just the intense ones.
Absolutely. The hostage negotiation stories are gripping, no doubt. They show the techniques working under unimaginable pressure.
Life or death stakes.
Exactly. But he also includes tons of equally compelling business negotiation examples, salary discussions, sales deals, contract talks.
Ah, so it shows the versatility.
Totally. It proves these aren't just for crisis situations. They're tools for everyone, in pretty much any interaction where you need to communicate effectively and influence outcomes.
Okay, so let's try and distill this. What are the absolute key takeaways for you listening right now?
I think First off, negotiation isn't just about the deal points. It's fundamentally about communication and really understanding the other person's reality. It's not just about winning.
Right. And second, tactical empathy is incredibly powerful. It's not weakness, it's a tool for influence built on trust and genuinely acknowledging emotions.
Yeah. And third, that surprising power of no. It's not the end of the road. It's often the start of a real conversation, revealing the true objections and opening up new possibilities.
So what kind of shifts might someone experience if they really take this book to heart?
Well, definitely rethinking negotiation tactics, moving away from just compromising by default and toward a more strategic, psychologically savvy approach that uses empathy.
And maybe seeing interactions differently.
Yeah. Humanizing negotiations, seeing them less as transactions and more as, well, human exchanges, valuing that genuine connection, not just the outcome.
And finally,
I think there's a real sense of empowerment through skills, realizing that these tools, which were honed in the most critical situations possible, are actually adaptable. You can use them in your life, in any situation. That gives you confidence.
so who is this book really for?
Honestly, pretty much anyone who interacts with other human beings, if you want to understand people better, influence situations more effectively, and just connect on a deeper level,
Hmm.
this is for you.
And how might someone grow from applying these ideas?
Maybe. Maybe by approaching disagreements, not with that sense of dread or defensiveness,
Yeah.
but with a kind of curious, empathetic intent, ready to actually uncover what's really going on for the other person.
Okay, a final thought that's something for you to reflect on. If every interaction we have is, in a way, a negotiation for understanding, what hidden black swans, what unexpected insights might you uncover in your very next conversation?
Just by listening.
Just by listening with real tactical empathy. This deep dive, much like a good session on Better Every Page, aims to give you the tools for that journey. What will you discover?